Hello, my name is Zayd, and today we're going to be learning about Marco Polo. So, who was Marco Polo? Well, he's a pretty important guy. Marco Polo was an Italian merchant and explorer who traveled across Asia in the late 13th century. That was over 700 years ago. You might be wondering, why is he so important? You see, Marco Polo was one of the first explorers to write about his adventures in Asia. In his book, we learn that he traveled far and wide through multiple magnificent cities, dangerous routes, and beautiful landscapes. Today, we still have his book, and by using it, we can learn a lot about how the world may have looked over 700 years ago. Marco Polo's journey started in Venice, a city in what is now Italy. When he was 17, Marco Polo, his uncle, and his father set off for China. But to get to China, they first sailed across the Mediterranean to the Holy Land. The Polos then traveled to the city of Baghdad in what is now Iraq. Their plan was to take a ship and sail across the huge, vast Indian Ocean in order to get to China. Unfortunately, they could not find a good ship that could survive the journey, so instead they decided to go on foot. As they made their way across the Middle East, the Polos were faced with many hardships and life-threatening situations. After crossing Persia on the backs of camels, Marco Polo got really sick and his family had to find rest in the Himalayan mountains for months until he got better. Eventually, he did get better and they set off for China once again. The last part of their journey was by far the most treacherous. The Polos, having no way to reach China by sea, had to traverse across the dangerous, barren terrain of the Gobi Desert. Marco Polo recalls how there was nothing at all to eat in the desert as it was too hot and too dry for anything to grow. The Polos decided to travel in a caravan with other merchants as it wasn't safe to make the journey alone. One time, however, a group of bandits attacked the caravan during a sandstorm. The Polos were lucky and were able to quickly escape, using the sandstorm to hide their getaway. Despite all the hardships they faced in their travels, Marco Polo enjoyed a keen sense of wonder and curiosity. He didn't mind traveling one bit if it meant he could meet new people and see new things. Eventually, after about 4 years since they left Venice, the Polos finally arrived in China, the capital of the Mongol Empire. At the time, Kublai Khan was the ruler of the Mongol Empire. He greeted the Polos when they arrived and actually ended up liking them a lot. He specifically took a liking to Marco Polo, who showed this keen sense of adventure and enthusiasm towards different cultures and new things. Impressed with Marco, Kublai Khan decided to send Marco Polo on a mission across the Mongol Empire. His task now was to document everything he sees, and once again, Marco Polo set off to travel. Polo spent the next 17 years of his life exploring Asia. He traveled through different towns and cities, observing lifestyles around the continent. He made note of the exquisite foods, the landscapes, and the people. In the end, he wrote in his book that he really enjoyed his time in Asia and was grateful for being able to see new things. Okay, so now, what can we learn from Marco Polo? Well, for one thing, we learned that Asia was a very beautiful, very diverse place in the 13th century. We also learned that traveling during this time was very dangerous, and it took weeks or sometimes months to get from one place to another. And lastly, we learned that Marco Polo is an important figure in history, as without his traveling and his book, we really wouldn't know much about how the world looked like 700 years ago. Thanks for watching.